Hey good people, Kai Man here, and in this video I'm going to show you how I create my custom action figures. It's a challenging yet rewarding hobby that requires patience and practice, but the finished product is perfect for stop motion animation, holiday gifts, or even your own collection. There are three different types of base figures that I use to create my custom figures. The first is the GW Toys G001 1/12 scale figure body. I buy all of my base figures from eBay, and this base figure in particular is between $25 to $30 total. Here you can see that base figure has been used to create a custom figure of HADOUKEN, a Mugen character made by Mugen creator AZKal. In my opinion, the figure has a great action hero look and scales neatly with most 1/12 figures, which I'll compare him to later in the video. He has excellent posability and comes with several unpainted accessories such as military boots, gun-holding hands, and wrapped fists that you see him with now. I purchased his black karate outfit separately from eBay seller GPS Lot for about $24. It comes with the belt, pants, and jacket, which I cropped into his definitive battle-worn look. The second base figure I use for customization is the Damn Toys Pocket Elite Series 1/12 scale Draw Man. He ranges from $25 to $35. This figure is much smaller than the previous GW Toys base figure, and I mostly use this base for teenage characters or characters with a slim physique and short stature. Here you can see it's been used to create one of my black belt bros, Justin. Now we'll do a size comparison between the GW Toys figure and the Damn Toys Draw Man figure. You can see the drastic difference in musculature and height between a more average body and a Herculean superhero type. Much like the GW Toys figure mentioned previously, the Draw Man figure has great posability even in his custom clothing. The figure comes with many more pairs of hands than the other base figures, including fist hands, gun-holding hands, relaxed hands, and one finger-pointing hand. The third base figure I use is the Figma archetype Next She figure used for my female characters. Although on eBay, this figure is a bit harder and trickier to find. I paid about $7 to $14 for each of these base figures, but there are sellers who aim to sell them for $75 to $125, some were as high as $200, which I think is insane. Be careful not to choose those deals, as the ridiculous price brings no difference to the figure. Also be aware that this figure is more prone to coming apart more easily, even brand new in box. I've unfortunately had several occasions where this figure would come in flimsy condition, such as parts that pop out with little effort, but the figure is made of a durable plastic and has never sustained permanent damage. Despite its flaws, I still believe the Figma archetype is the most economic, versatile, and human-like base figure for female characters. Here we have one of my characters using this Figma base, Tala. The flexibility in the legs is unfortunately a bit limited, at least with the splits. Some customization in this area might also be a slight limitation. The size of the figure is also much smaller compared to all other base figures. They almost seem closer to a 1/15 scale rather than a 1/12, standing at just shy of 5 inches. This figure is quite petite and scales more naturally with the Drawman figure and most 6-inch figures. However, it'll most likely look out of scale with female figures from other toy lines. This base figure comes with a display stand, a pair of fist hands, a pair of open hands, a pair of gripping hands, and an extra pair of articulated feet. In these photos, you can see how the figures scale with figures from other lines, such as Storm Collectibles Scorpion, NECA Toys Rambo, Marvel Legends Black Panther, SH Figure Arts Green Ranger, Sota Toys Ryu, and Sentinel 1000 Toys Rio of Wildfire. Now that we've learned about base figures, it's time to customize a new one from scratch. For this part of the video, I'll be using the Figma archetype base since the customization of this figure is more involved. As you can tell, the clothes are not separate fabric like Justin or HADOUKEN, but rather painted and sculpted onto the character herself. For the sculpting job, I used to use polyform air dry clay. It allows for a more detailed and textured sculpt on the hair and clothing, but can crack or break if the figure falls on a hard surface. In stop motion production, this can happen often. Although superglue can fix that, I found that using tulip dimensional fabric paint is a viable alternative to clay. The final result of the fabric paint flexes like rubber and does not break. After 4 hours, it's permanent and paintable, even though, like all paint, it comes in many colors. It is also much easier to work with, as you'll see soon. This paint can be purchased at Walmart, your local arts and crafts store, or even online for $3 to $12. Although I only have the metallic silver fabric paint, I also have a variety of acrylic paints to color the figure and paint the necessary details such as eyes, lips, and designs. To paint those fine details, especially the eyes, I typically don't use a brush, but rather a metal pin, toothpick, or pen to get far more accurate and sharper application of the paint. With all of these tools and supplies, and of course a discardable cloth or newspaper to cover your work area, we can get started. Be sure to shake all paints before use. Let's start from the top with the hair. Notice how I slowly squeeze the bottle until the tiniest bit of the paint comes out. Then I start layering the hair from front to back. See how smoothly I can layer out the paint from the bottle? Even the tip of the bottle itself can be used to manage the shape and direction of the paint, unlike clay, which most of the work requires the bare hands and carving knives. Just be sure not to over squeeze the bottle, and your application of the paint will be as smooth as the figure itself. This same method you're observing is also used to make clothing and accessories, or if the clothing is intended to be a tight or spandex style, it can be painted on. Crafting shoes in this manner may be possible, but due to the rubbery nature of the paint, it's not recommended. Most of my custom figures remain barefoot, since most martial arts is done as such, but the ones who wear shoes either have theirs made from clay, or I purchase them from eBay seller Simple Happy Life. To save us time on this video, I'll keep the design simple. Now I extend the hair past the neck. Just be mindful about how long each stroke of paint is, as the paint can droop right off if applied too heavily. Alternatively, you can always add on to the sculpt, even once it's solid. Once I'm satisfied with the hair sculpt, or just want to take a break, I lean the figure up against the bottle, or another prop heavier than the figure. The goal is to make sure the figure doesn't fall and the paint stays untouched. I then leave it alone for 4 hours in a room temperature area. Ceiling fans are also fine to help paint dry, but don't use oscillating fans, as they can blow the paint out of its shape. I let my work dry overnight, well past 4 hours, and now it's dry to the touch. Occasionally, the paint may warp or stick to the figure during the drying process, but can easily be detached from the plastic by gently prying it with a metal pin, toothpick, or pen until it separates. The paint will also slightly shrink during the drying process and become more compact, so it may take another layer of paint sculpt for the desired look. After a bit more layering to the hair, I have my final sculpt. Now I can begin painting it and the rest of the head. For this part of the creation process, I'll need my paints, paint brushes, and a cup of hot water. You can get most basic acrylic paints for about 50 cents to $1 each at your local superstore or arts and crafts store. Most basic paintbrush sets can be found there as well for $3 to $6. For my craft, I used folk art paints, apple barrel paints, and the Royal and Langnickel paintbrush set. I start off by choosing a paintbrush that matches size with the part of the character I'm painting. For small figures, I use a flat brush, shaking the paint and wetting the brush a bit before drying it off a tad. I've found that painting with a damp brush leaves a smoother, more clean finish. Just a slight dab of paint will work for the paintbrush. When it comes to painting, less is more. I paint the figure in the same manner which I sculpted it, steady and gentle, layer by layer. After each coat of paint is layered, be sure to soak the brush in the hot water to remove excess paint, then dry it off. A clean paintbrush is important for a clean figure. I generally use a lamp for extra light on my work. It can make a big difference in noticing the finest details. Due to the wide nature of the brush, it's only natural that paint will get on other parts of the figure. But that's okay, because we'll be painting over it later. It's actually better to do it this way, so that each crevice of the figure is painted. Some parts of the figure will be easier to paint, such as our custom sculpt. Others may need to be coated 2 or 3 times for a full color. I let each coat dry for at least 5 to 7 minutes before applying another. For even finer details, I use an even finer brush. This also allows me to paint the deeper areas of the sculpt and other spots I might have missed. Any stray marks can be easily faded out with the surrounding color. To keep a steady hand while painting, I often rest my forearms against the table. Now it's time to do the eyes. For this, I use a sharper tool than brushes. I use a metal pin that broke off my afro pick, but a toothpick or pen will also do. I start with a black oval shape for the eyelids and lashes, using the eye socket as a guide. Uneven sockets can be touched up with the skin color. I'll be using my smaller fine brush again. To make it sharper, I use my fingers to smooth it out while it's damp. Now we can open those eyes. Another great technique I've discovered is to use the metal pin or toothpick to shape the eye, pushing the paint ever so gently to make it wider or more almond shaped. This can also be done for the lashes. Now I know this is terrifying, but we're almost there, with a pinch of chocolate brown for the iris. With the eyes filled in, I add a final touch of white, using the smallest dab possible. I sometimes give the character a few specks of white paint on the lips too, to give them a radiant look and add more dimension to the face. With the eyes as my guides, now I make the eyebrows. With some minor touch-ups here and there, the head is essentially finished. I added some strokes of blue and gray to shade and texture the hair. Once I repeat this whole process with a sculpt and paint for the body, our new character is all figured out.